Now, what I was saying is what's happening in our courts generally now is the police are pushing through all the cases because they don't dare say, we don't believe this victim or we don't think there's enough evidence there. The public prosecutors are pushing them all to trial. And then sensible juries make good decisions very often. And so juries don't believe all women. Juries know that sometimes women bullshit about these things and make up stories about these things. Sometimes they're telling the truth and sometimes they don't. And particularly if you have women on the jury, I mean, women have a very clear idea of the fact that, you know, you can't believe men or women all the time.
Your genitals don't decide whether or not you lie.
No. And so they sit there and they judge the facts put in front of them. And a lot of these great cases are falling down because they didn't have enough evidence to start off with. And probably, arguably, we've tilted the law too much to always believe the victim, i.e. the woman, and we're not putting enough emphasis on properly examining these cases before they go to trial and determining whether there's evidence to support them. And of course, then the activists turn around and say, look how appalling our criminal system is. All these, these rapists are going to trial and they're not being convicted. I mean, it's just craziness that's going on here.
Well, through the Me Too movement, and I know you're very heavily involved with your book, #MenToo. It's interesting to see that on Twitter particularly, I don't know how much time you spend on Twitter, but it is a shit fight.
Oh, I don't. I just post things and I don't even look at it.
It's heinous. I follow a lot of feminists and a lot of very far left people, just for my own entertainment, and it helps me come up with videos.
God, it would drive me crazy.
But it also, it makes you crazy. But the #BelieveAllWomen is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Because you can't #BelieveAllMen.
No.
So how can you #BelieveAnyone based on their gender? You know, like you just can't do that. It's just it's so inappropriate.
And that's why every day. Obviously I hear from lots and lots of men who are so pleased someone is standing up for them. But I am hearing from more and more women. I walk in a supermarket and a 60-year-old woman will say, "Thank God someone's standing up for our sons," or this happened to my brother, or this happened to my, son-in-law. My son's not allowed to see his kids anymore. All the things that are happening to men out there are affecting women as well. Because luckily, most men have women who love them in their lives, women who care about them, women who are really upset at what's happening to men in our society. They don't believe all women. They know women tell lies. They're really disturbed that our legal system is now believing everything women say and denying men proper justice. And I've just got this huge number of people, and I'm just trying to work out what to do with it. I've got this group wanting to help in some way, and that's why I'm systematically now starting to run campaigns of various sorts to take them on. There are lots of people who've had enough, and we have to stand up against this rubbish.
You have to. And you see the popularity of people who stand up against things that everyone sits at home and go, no, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
People like Jordan Peterson and even Milo Yiannopoulos for some time.
Yeah.
People like that who just stand up and obviously Jordan's very, very different to Milo, but they stand up and they say, okay, well, this is incorrect and here are the facts. And people go, oh, right. But with as far as with my content that I make a lot of videos that are anti-feminist or not even anti-feminist. I think feminism, the word, the definition is great. Equality, of course. You want people to be equal. If they want to be equal.
It used to be equality.
Exactly.
And I called myself a feminist for, 30 years or something in my adult life. And then I had enough, because feminism has nothing to do with equality anymore. It's to do with advantaging women at the expense of men. And I'm not part of that. No. And neither are most. I was looking at a recent survey. SBS did a big analysis of sexism and feminism recently. And they found, I think, I can't remember the figures, it's less than 30% call themselves feminists, and it depends, younger women are more likely to than older people. But the numbers are actually going down, and more, something like 75% feel sexism applies to men too. Most people think feminism has gone too far. So there was an overall picture of disquiet in our community. We've got a tiny group of activists who are calling themselves feminists in Australia, and they are having a totally disproportionate voice. And they are influencing policy, they're influencing politicians, they're influencing government. And that's because we, the majority who don't like what's going on, are silenced. And we have to stop that. We have the numbers, and if we start to stand up, we could drown out those noisy, yapping little creatures and have, get governments to listen. Someone talked about, who was it? One of the wonderful actors, I think it's Eric Weinstein, is it?
Yep.
He talks about the Chihuahua effect. That the feminists are like this yapping little horrible dog, and we are the Great Dane. I mean, we're the majority, and if we only stood up and roared, we could just take that little yapping creature's head off.